Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of Your Best Day Yet. Here at Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer at the Center for Victory. We're switching roles a little bit here. I'm going to interview our executive consultant, Mr. Zack DelTurco, today. It's good to have you here as always, bro. We've been talking this month about leading into the new year. In the first couple podcasts, you've asked me some questions. I thought we'd turn the tables a little bit now, and I'm going to ask you some questions based off your experience. And we're obviously going to be talking about the whole millennial thing, so I'm just going to warn people about that. It's not a bad thing, but I think it's good to have that conversation because you're doing quite well. We have another person on the team that is in that.
She does okay.
She does really well. And you guys are doing great, but when we talk about leading and things of that nature, many people ask if leaders are born or made. You're young, you're a millennial, you're 28. Let's discuss kind of what it takes to create a leader. Well, because when I asked you to come on board a while back, it's probably about
year and 3 months ago.
Yeah. There was a little bit of reluctance until I could show you that you were a perfect fit, at least behaviorally.
Yeah.
Now you definitely fit in with the culture and things like that. But I wanted you to know that, okay, this is why I think, not just because I liked you, this is why you fit and this is why I think you'll do well. How important is it to creating a leader to make sure they're in the correct role?
Yeah.
And what has it meant for you?
I think number one, you talked a little bit about leaders being created or developed. I mean, I look at that as, I was always an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So there was something in me that I had a bent towards being an athlete. I will say this, I was a raw athlete until I started to develop the skills.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everybody has different leadership abilities, but until they have that self-awareness, and that goes into your question, without the predictive index and understanding how I'm wired, I don't know if I would have actually made that jump because I was hesitant as a leader because I had some background in sales, but until you sat me down and say, hey, here's how I'm wired, here's how you're wired, here's how the top performers are wired, I think you're going to be a great fit. I think self-awareness is key in any specific role, just because even if you're not a good fit, and you still take that position, going into that, I have to bend or I have to adjust my personality in order to meet the demands of the job.
Absolutely.
So no one's ever went into a job or their first day and say, you know what, I really want to suck at this job. I really want to fail. I don't want to succeed.
Right.
But a lot of times we set people up that way is because we don't set the expectation, hey, here's how you're wired, Zach. You're really outgoing, you're social, you're proactive, you respond well under pressure, you like risk. This is what the job looks like. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to have to get a little bit more persistent, maybe a little bit more assertive, a little bit more direct on some sales, but for the most part, we need you to be yourself, go out there, perform, build relationships, and make things happen. That's how I'm wired, and that so happens to be how the job I fit in. So it's like a glove, the Michael OJ rule. If the glove don't fit, you must quit. Like the glove fit.
Right.
I was born to succeed unless I didn't put the effort in and didn't put focus and time. Then obviously that's why people fail.
Mm-hmm. And we're all wired differently, and there's no right or wrong with that. And I think some people, even to get a little bit off topic here, but it's still relevant to this topic. When people lead like their kids, right? They're different.
Yep.
My two kids are completely different. They need a little bit different things here and there, but they're perfect the way they are.
Yep.
And it's just putting that person in the right role to succeed. And I think that's how, once leaders, when you look at really good leaders, they found their groove somehow.
Yep.
Somebody's helped them, or they've done it on their own. More than likely, somebody's helped them, put them in the right role, gave them some good counsel, gave them some good guidance, and said, hey, this is the way you do it. And that leads into my other question. A manager or if it's personal, it's parent,
Mm-hmm.
can play a huge role in the development of a leader. What are some of the things that you've received from your manager that have strengthened your leadership abilities over the past year?
Number one, I don't have a manager. I have a leader.
Yes.
A leader is somebody who says this is where we're going. A manager just says, okay, here's what we got going on right now. Let's just manage it, and that's enough. I have a great leader. I have a phenomenal leader. But what was the question again?
What have you learned that is strengthened your leadership abilities here, especially like over the past 12 months?
Yeah, I think number one is proximity.
Okay.
I got in proximity with you. I mean, you've been doing this for over 25 years, and you even told me coming on board, hey, I want you in my hip pocket, and that's exactly what I did. I said, okay, how do I become an expert? Because right now, early on, you're not an expert at what you do. It takes 10,000 hours to become an expert, but the more time I spend around with an expert, I can look like an expert, even though I might not be an expert.
Mm-hmm.
I could talk like an expert, even though I'm really not that expert, because I'm with an expert pretty much every single day. So I think proximity is such an important thing. But one of the things that you can't learn that you've taught me is hard work. Yeah. And, people work 5 days a week, and sometimes people only work 5 hours a day. So they're working 25 hours a week, and that's enough for them, or because they're working for either a paycheck or they're disengaged. But something you taught me is, okay, be the first one in the office, the last one to leave. Let's work 6 days a week. Let's work hard, but also we're going to have fun afterwards. And that's something that I really admire about you. It's something that I've instilled into my disciplines and my daily practices. Okay, if people are working 8 hours, I don't want to be average. I'm gonna work 10 hours. If people are working 10 hours, I want to work 12 hours. And it's that idea, we were talking about it earlier, is Mark Cuban says, nobody's gonna kick my butt. You want to know why nobody's gonna kick my butt? Because I'm kicking my butt every day. If you want to be the best at what you do, you have to kick your butt every single day, because either you kick your own butt or somebody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah. Anything else with that one?
Yeah, I would say one of the most important things that I'm having a hard time right now is growing long hair. Because when you have long hair, everybody knows long hair don't care.
I love that. It's so funny. You've said that so many times, and I still love when you say that. It's so funny. How have these abilities, or how do they, what you went over, how do they, like leadership abilities and being confident, being in the right role, knowing your role, how do those apply in your personal life?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think everything kind of blends together. Like my life, I don't necessarily compartmentalize everything. Especially in our technology world that we live in. There's sometimes it's 8 o'clock at night, and it might not be a healthy habit, but I check my phone or I check emails. But I think going back to the hard work, and I think we talked about it probably a couple months ago, is like, and I work extremely hard every single day, 6 days a week. I rest one. But what I realized was I'm spending all my energy on work and not in my relationship, and that was kind of a pivotal moment for me. It's like, okay, I need to work hard, but I also need to work hard in my relationship, and that has changed my marriage. That has changed my relationship with my family. Just to be more intentional, to be more proactive, and saying, what is the most important thing? The role awareness. What are my roles? ROLES as a man. Am I business first, then my wife, then my family, or is it my wife, then my family, then my work? So you've really helped define that for me. But just the idea of get up every day, even if you don't feel like it. Invest in your marriage, invest in your relationships, invest in the things that are going to have a return of either happiness, joy, or fulfillment in your life.
Yeah, that's a very good answer. I mean, I think great leaders, when you look at great leaders, if I could sum this up and tell me if I'm just putting words in your mouth, but if I could sum that up, great leaders have great balance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they know
Yeah.
you have to invest, because I can be the greatest person in the office, and we've seen those, and we coach those kind of people that their home lives are a wreck.
Yeah.
Right, and their kids are distant or addicts, and their spouses or significant others are not close to them. It helped great leaders seek that balance for themselves and others.
That's good.
As we wrap up, what are 3, 4, 5 tips that you could give everybody, especially people that are kind of sitting in your area there of how old you are, that 20, 30 some, because I actually love that population. I mean, people were complaining all the time, like, give me a couple more, man.
Yeah.
Because I understand, and what's so funny about it is the people that are kind of complaining about it are the people that created the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the parents.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. Thanks, Boomer. Right? And, I mean, really, because I really believe in everybody that I've spoke to that's your age, when I brought this topic up about leadership and developing themselves, man, y'all just light up because I don't think you've had it.
Yeah.
And when you get it, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had a stellar year. I mean, you've had a kick butt year. I mean, we just talked about it and spent some time talking about your year this year and what it looks like next year. And I'm really excited for you. Was excited for you this year. I'm really excited for you next year, and it's not happened yet. But what are some tips that you could give somebody that's really looking to develop themselves, especially leadership? We're into the new year now, just a little bit. What's some tips or advice you give somebody?
Hashtag New Year, New You, right? That's like every single year.
Yeah.
People are like, hashtag New Me, New Year. But I think if that's really what you want and you desire, it comes down to a couple things. And the first one is self-awareness. Like, understand how you're wired, what makes you tick, what are your motivational needs, what gets you up in the morning. Those are critical in order to truly be fulfilled and enjoy what you do in life. And I'm not saying every single day you're going to wake up and be like, my gosh, I can't believe I get to do this. But majority of the time, you should wake up every morning and say, wow, I can't believe I get paid to do this. That's when you know you're in your sweet spot.
Right.
And I would say to those people who are kind of in that position where they're struggling currently in their job, a lot of people, the reason why they do that is because it's a financial burden of college and tuition and debt. I would say the first thing is to eliminate that debt. Then your second thing you got to figure out is, okay, what's going to make me the most fulfilled? It might not be the biggest paycheck. What is your motivators? Like, it might be, helping people. It might be learning and teaching. It might be creating a peaceful and a place of harmony. Whatever that is, we do that. And that's how I've discovered, okay, here's how I'm wired. Here's what gets me up in the morning. And here's some things I know that I need to work on in order to take my leadership to the next level. The second thing is, so you have self-awareness, you have rule awareness. The way you're wired, what are some things that you can do? And there's many things that you could do that you're saying, oh my gosh, it's like a hand in the glove. Like, man, it just feels right. I can't believe I get to do this job. You understand the roles, the behaviors of that job, and then you then succeed in that current position. I would also say, you heard of this idea of the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. I would say there's a higher standard that people should be living to, and we talk about this in our training every single time we meet with clients, is the platinum rule. Treat people the way they need to be treated for maximum productivity and efficiency. Don't treat people the way you need to be treated, because that's selfish. You need to treat people the way they need to be treated. And that can be found through the motivating needs. That could be the values index, or that could be the predictive index, that motivation.
And that's a great summation of great leadership there, the platinum rule.
Yep.
I mean, absolutely. So good.
Yeah. And then the last thing is the the guy that owns the Rockets, I was listening to a podcast, and I think he actually wrote a book about shut up and listen. Especially the younger you are, sometimes we have that idea of we know everything. Well, here's a news flash. Like, this is breaking news. Like, you don't know everything, so shut up and listen. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, good. All right, well, that's great. And that's the end. But I want to leave everybody with this quote by Jim Rohn. He said, a good objective of leadership is to help those who are doing poorly do well, and to help those who are doing well do even better.
That's really good.
And that's what we want. That's the essence and the heart of leadership. But that's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave this video a like and leave a comment down in the comment section below, please. We'd also appreciate if you'd hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon to get notified when we post next. For more information, please contact us at centerforvictory.com, and we'll leave you with this as we always do, which is wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. See ya.